guys, Rick Shaw here. It's the 11th of June. I did receive an order from Lazada today, and the kids and I were putting it together a little earlier, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's right there, and I got this for me. It's a fixie. I didn't buy any bike that I need for on the road, and I'm not going to be going to work or traveling any great distance on it. This is just for around the neighborhood so I can ride with the kids. It has a couple cool things that I was pretty amazed about for the price. I paid $6,800 for it. 100-pound tires. I remember back in the day when I was younger, if you wanted to get the 90-pound tires, that was a huge premium on a bike. I never got them because they were so rough. These ones, you hit the cracks in the road and stuff, it seems to handle it very well. I get a kick how they made the frame around the wheel here to shorten up the base, the wheelbase on it. I guess for Asians, kind of cool. I'm not, I was never been excited about welds from Chinese. I hope you can see that. It's really something. Now, they did say it was a steel frame. I haven't put a magnet on it yet. But I rode it around. It's got its typical Chinese quirks. Like the brake, it's a fixie, so you push the pedal backwards and it brakes. Well, the only problem is until you come to a complete stop. If you push the brake a little bit, it does not release. I don't know if there's a spring inside this hub that's messed up or what. Maybe it needs to try to get some lubrication in there. I'll deal with that a little bit later. But the only way you can get the brake to release is to have the rear wheel go backwards, and then it'll release and you're smooth rolling again. But there's a lot of things that it came with, like the steering head is so tight. I don't know if the ball bearings are rusted in there, but I'm gonna have to pull it apart. I assembled it just to get it going, and now I'm gonna have to take some things apart and make sure it's oiled and greased. Who knows? Maybe they just didn't have any grease the day at the Chinese factory. I don't know. Maybe they was frying some toads or something, and they needed the grease for their lunch. I don't know. But it's kind of a cool bike. It's a little small for me. I was going to put the handlebars up higher, up here, turn them around, and then get a longer seat post for me so that I'd be more comfortable. But then it would make it so if my wife wanted to hop on it, she wouldn't be able to. Her bike is another one of them stupid ones with the handbrakes, and it's so hard for them. They don't have the hand strength. I mean, I don't have a problem on it. I rode her little bike. I don't have the problem with the hand strength, but they all seem to, and I don't want them smashing. So if she wants to hop on this one and go, I'm not going to set everything up real high. I can adjust my body. I've been fitting into small things my whole life, and small cars, and all the motorbikes are tiny. It's just the way it's been for me. So, but so far so good on this. I'm kind of for the money. They always say you get what you pay for the money. I think it was actually kind of a good deal for what I wanted and what I wanted to spend on one. I shopped around. I did get it from Lazada. I hope that I get some money back for the other one I had to buy. I left it on the last video about what happened, but I don't know. I probably should just let them send me two. Then one could be dedicated to my wife, just for her, because I think it's a really nice bike for the money. I mean, I was down there looking at bikes at the bike shop, and I saw some nice bikes that are much bigger that would fit me very well, and the sizes on them, they're just monstrously big, 62 centimeters and all they call them. They got different sizes compared to what I remember when I was young, and of course we're not metric, so I'm getting used to the sizes. But every bike that I found that I liked, 55,000 or 65,000, it's like, give me a break. It don't cost that much to make these bikes. These shops they're inflating the prices so high on these bikes. I know they got to make a living and everything, but you can forget me ever paying that much for a pedal bike. you could just forget it. I'll go out and I'll go back to the States, find a yard sale with an old Schwinn, and I'll ride that thing to death. I had bikes in the day. I did one bike when I was in California that I actually I picked up used. It was a Giant, and it was this big frame, but the rims were all broke. The guy, the wife was mad at him about him buying a bike or something. She smashed the wheels all up. So I got the frame basically and the gear set, and I changed it to an Alpine inner hub. I don't like derailleurs. I think it's really stupid. And then on the front one, I got rid of the double one. I just put a single on the front. And I actually had them do a belt drive because I don't like anything to do with chains, even on motorcycles. I hate the idea of a chain. You know, this is 2020. You know, Harley Davidson's got belts. I had a Harley Davidson Sportster. I put 98,000 miles on it, running this as my work mule, back and forth to work. And guess what? Never had a problem with the belt. Didn't even look at it. I didn't even have to think about it. It was like my old Suzuki with the shaft drive. I just didn't think about it. Change the oil in the shaft drive every now and again. And that's where I'm at. I don't want to tinker with crap like that. It's old technology, and these motorcycle companies, I don't understand. And the bicycle, why are they still doing that? You know, why are they? It's because it's cheap. It's so cheap. Yeah, well, it's a pain in the ass for me, and I don't want it. That's why I started buying Harleys. I got my first one in 2007, belt, and I used it for work. I had one job that lasted almost 6 months. That I was 200 miles away, and I wasn't going to stay out there. You know, I was taking the per diem money that they were giving me to stay out there, putting it in my pocket, and driving home every night. And I could get home in a couple hours, in 2.5 hours. You know, way out there in the desert, the cops don't bother you on a bike. I mean, mine was an 883, but right at the dealership, I had them put the 1200 jugs on it, and it would do 100, 105. You know, with me laying down on the tank, with my tools on the back, and I just lean forward and get into a tuck, and it would cruise. I mean, it was a good bike. I had the rear suspension. I put progressives on the back, and I had the front done. And I never had a problem with that bike. I had people tell me, "Oh, you know, Harleys, they're no." I heard all about how bad Harleys were. Oh, they're no good. Blah blah blah. This that. I don't know. I didn't have a problem with that one. And then, and when I sold it, when I sold the dang thing, I was going to originally buy the 1200. It was $12,000. The 883 was 8,500, and for 1,500 they put the 1,200 jugs on it. Everything else the same, 1,200 jugs and pistons, all that stuff. So it really kicked up the power for me, because I needed that top end highway power. And so I got the thing a couple $1,000s cheaper, and the only difference was instead of a 6-speed, it had a 5-speed. Never had a problem with the bike. Nothing went wrong with it. I used Mobil 1 oil in it all the time. I went through a few sets of tires. I stuck with the tires that they came with because they were, on that particular bike, they wore very well. I think I was getting about 35,000 out of them. You know, the front one was actually holding up better than the back because I had so much weight with my tools. And then I bought a Buell Ulysses. That one was absolutely horrible on tires, but it's because of the way I rode it. It was absolutely I have to say, the finest bike I had ever owned. And during the time I had that, I bought a Dyna, 2010 Dyna. And I put a supercharger on it, nitrous and all this stuff. Wanted to make a drag bike, extended the swing arm a little bit. Not noticeable, just a little bit. And had that thing set up. It was a super speedy bike. But then Harley shit-canned Buell. And as soon as they did that, I was just like, you know what? The company was moving towards the future. They had a bright future, and they shit-canned Eric Buell, and that's when I said, I'm done with Harley. I'm not gonna deal with these old curmudgeons, you know, still building the same crap that was built in 1912. You know, they're not modernizing. You know, now they got this 750 Street, and they got all those things look like crap. You know, they should have got some cool Italian designer. Pay the guy the money, but Harley, all it is about money. They make I think some of the bikes that they have, like their newer ones, I went and looked at them. They just look so cheesy, you know. To me. Now the older Harleys, like my Fat Bob, that I thought was a really fantastic. That's a Dyna. I thought that thing was fantastic looking. And the Sportster, that little Sportster. Everybody teased me for an 883. Of course, I didn't tell them I had 1,200 jugs on it. That thing was speedy. Like the light, it was speedy. It would go on the highway at 100, 105. You know, get me back and forth to work, and it was pretty good. But the Buell, that was my bike. I wished I could have brought it here.
I love that. I love that machine. I've had a lot of bikes. I've had Yamaha XS11s, Honda 750s, Honda 350 4-cylinder, 400 4-cylinder, 350 2-cylinder. I had, let's see, keep going up. I had a Husky 400. I had a Yamaha 650. Let's see, keep going down the line. What else I had? I had two Kawasaki 1000s. I had a Cow 900. And then I had some Suzukis. I had that 850 Suzuki shaft drive, and then I had the other GLZ that was the 1250. That was shaft drive. Loved those bikes. Just fantastic bikes. So I had a lot of bikes. I had a whole bunch of bikes, and now I got a pedal bike. But I'll be getting a bike here again pretty soon. We're starting to do it. I'm hoping this house is going to be done before we're going. But just want to let everybody know what's going on. And it is a beautiful day. You know, it's kind of nice. There's no breeze though, so you know it's like it's sticky. There's little teeny, just a very small breath of air, and every time the sun comes out, you can really feel it cooking you. So I'm just sort of sitting in the shade a little bit today. Kids are out playing. They're doing their thing. I took the bike on a few test spins. I'll have to figure out what's wrong with inside the hub. You know, but I'm not in the mood to do that right now. I'm just not. So it's not something I'm going to do today. I'll do it another day. The other thing was that stupid kickstand. You know, they didn't have it adjusted. It was straight. This angle right here that I bent out with a big crescent wrench. It was straight up and down. So when you put the kickstand down, the bike would fall over the other way. So that was another thing. You know, they missed the boat on that. So I had to get a big crescent wrench in there and torque it up so that now. I'll show you this. Now the kickstand's working kind of good. But this piece right here that I have bent on an angle, this was straight up and down with the bike, and this was way too long, and I wasn't going to start cutting things. But we got it fixed up. And I still say it's a cool looking bike. We're doing good. So this is Rick Shaw on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. I believe it's the 11th. And you guys all take care. See ya.